The situation with Harry Maguire and what's going on there. I mean, what do you make of it all? I mean, his mum's come out and said things and felt that the situation was beyond the level of fairness in terms of the abuse that apparently is coming from the media and punditry, which I can't quite relate to, but we'll get to that in a second. But the player himself, you know, he's out of the United side. He's getting picked for England without playing. He's clearly not in the greatest of form. I don't blame the own goal for him. No. The other day against Scotland, that can happen to anyone, right? Yep. But this whole situation with Maguire, what does he do? What can he do? What should he do?
Well, I thought, Simon, when he had the opportunity to go to West Ham, I don't know how it fell down or what happened. You know, we're not privy to these things. I thought that might have been an answer. Go and play, different environment, and
be valued.
Start again.
Be valued.
And be valued.
Yeah.
There's obviously, it's got to the level where I don't think any of us have ever really seen it to that.
Do you think that? Who from, though?
The supporters.
Yeah.
And whether they're England or even when we go to Scotland the other day, they're sort of ridiculing.
Yeah, it's parody, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And now I went to see Harry and bought him when I was at Hull, and my chief scout was Stan Tennant.
I know all about Stan. Yeah.
He's mad as a rocking horse, but absolutely
indeed.
Great for me was as a chief scout. He says, we're going to go and see Harry Maguire today. They're playing in this Mickey Mouse thing at Sheffield United in the EFL Trophy or whatever. We'll go in and we'll go and put our caps on and we'll just sit. We're not going to sit in the director's box because they'll know we want to try and buy him. So when Harry walks out, and he's only 21 now, when Harry walks out, I thought, he's got a strange shape and he's got a strange gait the way he is. Big, powerful lad, but is he slow on the turn? Is he slow on the turn? He's not the quickest. Handles the ball really, really well. Great in both boxes. So all this time at the Stan, I've gone, I'm not so sure, Stan. I'm not so sure about him. So Stan then goes, let me tell you, he's 21. He's won Player of the Year at Sheffield United for the last 3 years on the spin. He's played 150 games by the time he's 21. He says he's not the quickest, and he's that, but he says, then Stan said to me, and by the way, you weren't the quickest, and your left foot was hopeless, and you weren't very big. But so we give you a chance. I think he's a player.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Stan, you've seen him 8, 10, 12 times. So we bought him. And I took him. And he didn't get in the team straight away because I had some good players. I just wanted to nurse him through a little bit. When he did get his chance, he handles the ball in immaculately. He's good in both boxes. He's a very, very decent player, Simon.
He is, yeah.
He's a very decent player who is, for me now, been the subject of the frustration of Man United supporters, maybe, and then for captaincy.
But why?
Just maybe because if he makes a mistake or whatever, and people seem to be, is it all Man U fans or is it England supporters? Yeah. Because I can't remember him ever letting England down. In fact, I always think he's done particularly well. I thought the other night, in the first game against Ukraine, he did very, very well.
Do you look at the other centre halves? I'll ask you first, right, before I get into comparison with other centre halves, because I think he's an average centre half. But then again, I've called you mediocre, so what do I friggin' well know? Right? But
I can get you though.
But the point is that I didn't think he was an £80 million centre half, and I think he's a decent player, and I think there's no reason for this abuse that he's getting. I think it's unfair and it's unjust.
Yeah,
right? But what if you?
Where does it come from, Simon? Because that is the biggest thing.
I don't know.
I'm asking you as a journalist now, media.
I'm not a bloody journalist.
Well, where does it come from?
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether it's come from the Greek stuff and people thinking you got a bit ahead of yourself and got a bit flash the way you behaved over there, or whether it's got from the robotic interviews that he did when they were a little bit dialed in, or whether it's because they're looking for a scapegoat and he just got the receiving end of it because he's a big fella and he was the Man United captain. I don't like it. I don't think people criticising his performance and questioning Gareth Southgate's propensity to pick him when he's not regular in the side, I don't think that's wrong. And I think some of the shit that's being said about the fact that pundits and media are after him, I don't think it's that. I think the fans, and you can say that pundits have said something which gives the fans an excuse to say something. People are responsible for their own actions. But Did you see him when you did you see him as a Man United captain?
I heard it the other night though, saying howling round Hampden.
Yeah, but that was Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland. Yeah, so the Scottish fans have jumped all over it as
well.
well.
They would, wouldn't they?
And it seems to be that everywhere he's going, because he's getting it maybe at home as well in Manchester, that every ground is replicating it, if you like.
Did you think when you had him? Did you think he was a? Did you think? No, you couldn't have at the time, right? Because ultimately, Hull to Manchester United is a.
No, he went to Leicester, didn't he? We sold him to Leicester.
I know he did. But what I'm saying when you had him at Hull, right?
Yes.
I was going to ask you the question: did you think he'd be a Man United captain? But you can't have seen that because he wasn't at Man United. But when he was at Man United, did you think, knowing what you know of him, that's a Man United captain?
Well, he's got a certain strength about him, and he's a very, very decent man. Whether he's a Man United captain, who knows, Sammy? Everybody's got to make their opinions on that. First of all, it's very, very difficult to be captain when you're not playing.
Yeah.
So straight away, you've got a decision from Den Haag is now got to say, well, he ain't going to play. I think the way the manager's towards him has sort of said, here's the door, you're not for me. Fair enough.
That's the way it works sometimes.
That's the way it works. That's the way it happens to us all. And that's why I wasn't surprised. I was surprised that he didn't take it up on it. But the actual stuff that he's getting, it borders on ridicule. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because
we're taking the piss, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking the piss.
Yeah.
That's not great. And let's be fair, he's still Gareth picks him.
Yeah. I don't think it was wise for his mum to come out, but then again, it's easy for him to say it's not my son. If you were giving him advice, Steve, what would you tell him to do?
Well, I nearly rang him in the summer because I've known him before, and I was at a wedding where he was at. I think personally I'd have moved on.
Yeah.
I think once the manager's done that and showed his cards to you, then you move on.
Cast, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to move on and go and find yourself a career again, boost it again, and feel respected in the audience that you're at. And certainly under Moisey, I thought it would have been a really good fit.
Yeah, I would have thought so too.
I thought it would have been a really, really, really good fit.
It made Kurt Zuma look like a player. That's just another centre-back opinion.
You seem to be picking on centre-backs at the moment, Simon.
I know.